monster of is a skyscraper. When he moves, the whole earth quivers and quakes, and an abyss of horror opens up.
Welcome back, my fellow agents, and welcome to the beginning of the second year of Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. It is I, your amazing anniversaryist. Yes, that is a word now. X7, the host of said podcast of heroes and monsters, Xenorama. This is the first day of the second year of our podcast. I started 1 year ago today. Well, 1 year ago on October 20th, in earnest, the podcast began. Now, it didn't settle into a groove and everything till a little later, and we're still working on it. It's still fun. And please like, share, subscribe, vote in a poll, and leave a comment. Also, if you're watching, wherever you're watching or listening, please watch at least for a few minutes. It really helps the algorithm. So, yesterday was our 300th episode. Today is our 301st, kind of appropriate. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite Japanese monster movies, Rodan, the Flying Monster. Even though the title of the movie on screen is, as we'll see shortly, is just Rodan. So grab yourself your big old stack. No, not wheat cakes. Grab yourself your hummus of perfection and your favorite delivery mechanism. Let's get into Rodan. Rodan was produced in Japan by Toho and released on December 26, 1956. It ran 82 minutes there. This one, the U.S. version, is a little shorter than that, and it was released in 1957. It was very successful. According to some people or some reviews, it was the highest grossing science fiction movie of 1957. Ain't that a kick? It was produced by the King brothers, who would later on produce Gorgo as well. Gorgo has a much more similar plot to Mothra, even though they were produced at the same time, leading some people unfamiliar with the law of large numbers to call it a coincidence.
See these prehistoric beasts emerge from the bowels of the earth after 200 million years to devastate mankind.
That's pretty close. It's a little less, actually. Usually they're, say, 1 million years or 10 million years, but since they're pteranodons. Of course, it's a Toho production. And there's the title card, Rodan. Now, my copy here came from the wonderful Konstantin Furman. If you're interested in getting copies from him, let me know. I can put you in contact. We start out here, as we already heard, the music by Akira Ifukube, who did many of the Toho movies, especially for the director. Special effects by the man, Eiji Tsuburaya. And the lighting is, I don't know if it's the print. There's nothing bad about it. It's just a little dark in some places. Have lightened it up a bit in some pictures. And this is the U.S. crediting. Now, the dialogue was probably done in L.A. You can hear Paul Frees in many voices, as well as George Takei, Lieutenant Sulu, if you listen closely. I didn't notice for years, but it's there. And once again, we have the Inoshiro Honda spelling. So it was going back even to 57. There was not a consensus, and Toho didn't help at that point in time. But it is Ishiro, according to personal friend of the channel, August Rigoni. So it starts out with some American narration of the atomic bomb blast that they drop, and then we go to a picturesque mining town in South Japan, Kyushu Islands, and then we go right into the monsters almost. Somebody is missing. We're not going to go over too much of the plot. Everyone knows it. There's the mine, and you can tell, there's the first 30 minutes of this movie, or 20 minutes at least, is spooky. It's really well shot. People are dying in a mine. There's water creeping in. They don't know why. And I remember watching, the first time I wanted to watch it was on what I want to call masterpiece. Masterpiece? No, it was. Oh, I had it this morning. It was on Channel Two, and it was at 10 o'clock at night, and on a Sunday. So it was on a school. That was a school night, and I couldn't see it now. My sainted mother does say that I did get up and watch some of it, but I don't remember that. Here's our hero and his intended. That would be Kenji Sahara as Shigeru, and his wife Kyo. That's Yumi Shirakawa. So other faces will know. Akihiko Harada is in here. Nakajima-san plays Rodan, so you don't see his face. But Command Performance Theater. That's what I believe it was called. So it was a couple years later, probably. I mean, I would have been 8 years old at the time. Yeah, we just moved out into the schoolhouse here in Fossil Bed. But it was too late, and I just couldn't stay up to watch it. It was Channel 2, of course, and they did show it later on. And it's like an old friend. These characters are all like old friends, much like the movie Varan the Unbelievable, which we'll get to. So we get right to the monsters almost immediately, but not Rodan. We get to the Mega Neuron, which are what prehistoric dragonflies are, or dragonflies. So they're.
Supersonic jets cannot catch him.
So hold on a minute. Let's talk about. There he is in all his radiant glory. It's a beautiful bug, and it's operated. I don't know if 3 or 4 people are inside that, but it's life size, or you can interact with it, which is something you don't always get to do with the Japanese monsters. I mean, it's a 10-foot bug, or maybe 15 feet, and it's killed several miners. So, and that was the mystery. So that gets solved. They kill one of them, and they report that they've lost Shigeru. So now everyone's looking for him. I think the Mega Neuron would later show up in Godzilla versus Megaguirus, or X Megaguirus, if you prefer. I don't think I have that movie in my collection. They're giant dragonflies. You don't actually see them in the larva form, but they're based on real prehistoric bugs who are giant dragonflies, like 2-foot wingspans. You can see one in Caveman. I should say that here's just a beautiful effect. I just love this. Comes across so well. It's a miniature, of course, but that looks real to me. I will be not re-uploading some of the early episodes when I really had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know you could do videos, but I will be I don't know what I'd call it, but doing them over, remaking them. Yes. With video, probably, because there's a lot of movies, and I didn't start doing video for months, probably 9 months, and even then I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. So we will. So here's an earthquake happens, and right as they're trying to figure out these Mega Neuron and find Shigeru, and they do find him, but he's nearly comatose and he's got amnesia. And they're trying to see if they can jog their memory by showing him the picture of the Mega Neuron and whatever this thing is supposed to be. You don't really get a good look at it. But again, these are really good. It's a great movie. It's really well shot. It's really well acted. And here's our first experience of Rodan. Look at that crazy flying stuff. It's being reported by a jet fighter. There's a lot of jets in this movie.
Rockets cannot stop him.
And they can't. So he destroys two jets, maybe. Look, everyone's watching him. Look at that, but it's picturesque. It's obviously outside photography, just beautiful. And they're flying. There's many reports of this unidentified flying object all over the world, but they don't know how it can move so fast. But the first couple of people that see them get eaten, and Rodan's one of the few monsters we ever actually see eat anything. We don't see him eat the people, of course, but the man was taking a picture of the girl right as Rodan flew up, so we get a picture. Here's some bird eggs that Kyo has hatching, and that's what brings Shigeru's memory back from his time while he was gone. There he is lying in this underground cave. Obviously, it's a set, but it's beautiful. and he sees this gigantic egg. Now, there's no way even reptiles the size or pterosaurs the size of Rodan would be able to lay an egg this big. It's just not possible. Much like Mothra's egg. So I don't know what the perception about gigantic eggs being, but the movie, the English dub at least, says that the birds were born ready to fly. Now, there's bunches of meganeuron around there, and this one's actually like caressing, like they're liking each other, like it's a baby or something. So this bird does not look like the grown-up birds, or it's not a bird. This pterosaur, this Rodan, we'll just call it that. It's the species Rodan. Does not look like its parents, or well, what I consider its parents. But it goes down and it snacks on those just like a bird would. Snacks on probably eats all the rest of the meganeuron, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. And look, does that look like Turu right there or not? Shigeru identifies the bird. I'm sorry, it's not a bird. It's related to a bird, but it's not a bird. Here's our humble professor. That is Akihiko Hira as a doctor of paleontology, Kashiwagi. So I didn't even recognize him with two eyes and glasses on. And then we get our first real actual reveal of what I consider the parents. Here's one of them as it comes out of the ground, and then it flies away. Rodan never looked better than this movie. Never. Has not. Nothing they've done to it. They have not improved it, no matter. The 90s version looks good, but it looks like a marionette, really. And because it was. The Final Wars version, meh. Looked like a guy in a suit, really. And then the Monster verse was ridiculous. And then suddenly they see, look at this mat scene here. No lines at all. Just beautiful. The second Rodan, its mate. And they fly off. And this is a miniature truck or miniature Jeep getting wrecked. And when you see it move in motion, you'd think it was real. The Foley artist sound effects are great. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I really didn't want to do that. Here we go. Let me get back here. Okay, so where's my next button? There we go. Now Rodan's flying with jet propulsion. We're not exactly sure why that's happening. Come on, what is going on here? So annoyed.
Armored tanks are helpless before him.
We just don't know, but it doesn't flap its wing. One of the criticisms is that the Rodans don't flap their wings. They just kind of fly through jet propulsion. But they do occasionally to try to look like they're flying. But it just is so damn impressive right there. And so the jets are strafing them. Those are shots. And here's another great crowd scene over Sasebo Dam. I know that's not really how did that get over there? Damn computers. It's Tokyo City that Tokyo gets ruined, but they call it Sasebo City in the English dub. It's got a let's see, 75% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So here's a nice shot. Once again, a mat scene, the bus and one of the adult Rodans flying around. Now there are some artifacts in the movie. It has not been cleaned up by either Toho or us, so that's what's going to happen. And then it flies. This is a wonderful shot. You wouldn't even know that was a miniature bridge if you didn't. As a kid, I didn't, know all of this. I mean, I knew these were not real animals. They were too big to be true prehistoric reptiles. Here's the miniature of the plane, which if you look, you would not know either. It's so well done. Well, you'd know now, but little miniature guy there, and Rodan jumping out of the water. Apparently, the water doesn't bother it. And just cackling. So this is all happening to Sasebo City right now. Let's hear more of the tanks.
Even guided missiles are powerless.
And there's all kinds of attention to detail. This was Toho's first color monster movie, and they really went all out to make it look good. And they did a great job. Very this many stills of this sort of scene here. Here are the miniature tanks, which instead of just having lots of fireworks shot at it, they actually look like they're shooting, and these shots hit Rodan. So look at that tank. I mean, and they shot everything in high speed photography so that it moved properly. There we go.
See Rodan destroy a modern city, leveling it to the earth with a killing airstream of his mighty wings.
Right here is the it's a breath that Rodan uses, and this is the only movie that they have it in until the 94, 93 Mechagodzilla movie where they called it Fire Rodan and gave it a laser beam weapon because not everything, but a lot of the monsters in the second series had beam weapons and shot at each other. And I guess because here's another great shot over a church. It's because the second Rodan is about to show up. Zoom. There they are together. Now you don't see a lot of them together very often. And then they're right. Nothing did stop these two animals. They kind of allude to that in the trailer that we're listening to here. And at the end of the episode, we'll have a special surprise. So here are the tanks again, little Japanese flags on them still, the land of the rising sun. There are rocket launchers, and there's our heroes, the military. Now, this was before you could have giant monitors just to watch the action from the safety of a bunker. They actually went out there to see what was going on. That's pretty dangerous. I mean, he even let his fiance. Good job, Shigeru. Here's the rocket launchers, and they didn't just keep showing the same scene over and over. They had two, and that was pretty much it. There's the explosions from the other side because they're trying to bury the Rodans in the mountainside.
Nothing escapes this monstrous beast of evil.
So they're watching pensively to see what will happen. Now, the American version has this wonderful ending because the Rodans try to get away and they fail. Now it isn't the people that do it, although they allude to the missiles and everything, but the nature lends a hand and a volcano erupts. Do you ever notice how Hollywood or manufactured volcanoes always are more impressive than real? I mean, real ones are super impressive, but these are more explosive and lots more fire. And you can see this happens again in 1 million years BC if you want another example. But we're getting to the end here. Well, the end of the movie. So I'm not going to play the narration, the closing American narration, but it's moving. It turns the Rodans into what could be world conquerors to sad animals that don't have a place here and have to be dealt with. Now, I still believe that these are the parent Rodans. I don't remember where I first read that, but it makes sense because that little one, the one that hatched, looks like a different animal. No matter what they say it being born ready to fly, I doubt that was the case. I mean, I know the movie's just kind of glossing over it. Plus, there's only one. These two have been around, and it got buried and it stayed alive and grew up, and that's the one we see in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and Monster Zero and Destroy All Monsters. So here's the one that gets caught. I don't know which one it was, and it's on fire. Apparently, the wire broke, and the marionette, the guy using it, was trying to get it back up, and it made it look even worse, like it was really suffering. So Tsuburaya just kept it in the movie. And going over all this is the man wondering if he, a modern man, would have the courage and dignity to die as well as a 65 million year old monster. And then we got the end. That's it. Rodan would return, but it would take almost 10 years. 8 years to return. So that's Rodan in a nutshell, so to speak. And now we're going to see a little promotion, U.S. promotional material. I don't know. These are just some advertisements that you would have seen in the theater or in the newspaper or somewhere. Rodan doesn't always look quite the same. If I shrinkify it, they're not so fuzzy. Sorry about that quality. Here's a still. King Brothers, Rodan the Flying Monster. It's just a beautiful airbrushed, all the airbrush. I mean, you can't even tell what kind of face that is. The Giant Claw would be released a couple years later, similar in premise, but not nearly as. It's funny, but it's not nearly as good. It could have been good. We'll review it some point in time. Here's a lovely little half sheet or something. So print by Technicolor, present a Toho Brothers, distributed by RKO Pictures, who made King Kong. And here's the Shogun Warrior from the late 70s. Boy, I wanted one of these. I had the Godzilla. I really wanted the Shogun Warrior, but alas, it was. I never did see it. I think it was in the Sears catalog, but by then I was too old. And I have seen it, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't get it. It would have been cool, but I don't know what I'd have done with it. And there's another Thundering Out of the Skies. That does not look like the monster at all. And here's the Polish picture, or the poster from Poland. Does that look? That looks like Devil Dinosaur, but not Rodan. But here's our heroes. I don't know what they were thinking there. And then this is the DVD that was released, which is a decent cover, not the best. I don't know why they wouldn't use such wonderful. They have such a wonderful variety of posters. But 72 minutes is what the U.S. one runs, and it's good looking. It's a good looking movie. Constantine did a wonderful restoration there, but definitely it could be upscaled, or not. And this has nothing to do with his work. It's excellent, but I don't know that. I think that's as good as it's going to get until Toho actually revamps it, and they have been doing that. All right, so agents. Oh, here is the 8mm home movies. I had the 50-foot version, which still had previews in it, and I believe was Little Rascals, which took up like 30 seconds of a 3-minute movie. It's kind of annoying, but it's all you could have back in the day was the 8mm, and we were lucky. We loved it. But that's our movie for today, my fellow agents. And until our next assignment, happy anniversary to all of you who have listened and been with me for a year. I really appreciate it. And until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off.
Monster is a skyscraper. When he moves, the whole earth quivers and quakes, and an abyss of horror opens up. See these prehistoric beasts emerge from the bowels of the earth after 200 million years to devastate mankind. Supersonic jets cannot catch him. Rockets cannot stop him. Armored tanks are helpless before him. Even guided missiles are powerless. See Rodan destroy a modern city, leveling it to the earth with a killing airstream of his mighty wings. Nothing can stop him. Nothing escapes this monstrous beast of evil.